Look, people keep coming up to me and they're like, I love podcasts. All right. All I really do is just listen to podcasts all day. I think I could do my own. And I'm like, don't. Because that's my job. And if you crowd the market, especially in such a time as these, that's going to cut into my finances. So I'm like, don't start a podcast. And he's like, all right, but hypothetically, if I wanted to start a podcast, how would I do that? And then I said, well, since you're speaking hypothetically and you're not actually going to do this, the one piece of advice that I have for you, Anchor FM, free hosting and distribution service for your podcast. You can get an app to record directly in the app, send it out to the internet, and then publish it. And I find out about it, and you said that it was going to be hypothetical podcast, not real. So I murder him in cold blood. And then another podcast has started, true crime podcast, about how I murdered somebody over a podcast. So Anchor FM, thanks for being the sponsor of the Triplefour podcast. On with the show.
Triplefour.
Let's talk about it. Okay,
Triplefour podcast.
Yeah, he said this dude makes a meatwad fucking thing for no reason, and then he says Jim Norton.
Bob Dylan I find personally obnoxious, but the Beatles destroyed culture.
Oh my god.
I got Elon Musk to smoke weed in my Tesla the other day.
Like,
That's
in my
not even a
garage.
big fucking
That's
deal.
true. Things are crazy right now.
You don't know shit, do you?
You really did.
We really didn't.
You know, you can't always get what you want, but you'll find
sometimes
sometimes that if you try,
You just might get it.
Oh, you get it!
All right, Frankie. It's the Triplefour podcast. Sup, foreheads. I haven't said that in a while. You know, but I gotta say sup for the people. You know, we haven't introduced ourselves in a while. I'm Dan.
Hi, I'm Nick.
It is me of the Josh.
Huh. And we have a special guest today. We have Joe.
Yo.
Mama.
No, it's pronounced Joe.
Yo.
So, how are we doing? For the first week of quarantine has passed.
Fine. I'm fine. Nothing weird.
I don't really know if we have quarantine here.
I mean, let's be honest. You guys are quarantined. Because who the fuck's going to Raleigh?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's not wrong.
I am offended, but you're not wrong. No, as of like a few hours ago, St. Charles County is now on a stay-at-home order.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, because...
I mean, it's pretty much was like that.
I was going to stay home anyway.
Yeah. Like most were.
You'd think
I did
that.
kind of want to go to Main Street just to see, just drive. But I just never ended up doing it.
So I left the house one time. I went to the park to go for a run, and I was thinking, usually park, not many people there anyway, even when there isn't a pandemic. And if I could stay away from them, that'll be a possibility. It'll be fine. I go to the park. It's just a fucking fair. Everybody's out of the fucking house, walking around, having a grand old time. There was like a family, this woman with like 4 kids, all have scooters, okay? And they are just mobbing along the park pathway. Just scooting all around. And I'm trying to stay out of their way, but they don't know what the fuck going on. So there was a dude in like a full-on like button-up shirt and slacks, like an older man. And he like, I tried to get away from him. And dude did not give a shit. He maintained course. He had like a stern look on his face. Nobody gives a shit. And there was the same amount of cars that there were like in any other given time, like driving around. Now, I think, some people are maybe just driving around just to get some fresh air, which is fine. But I think there's still a lot of people who are just not taking this seriously, just don't care. And it makes me mad.
I'm really proud of my parents. They both have stayed in since Wednesday.
They say my mom. She has stayed the whole time.
Go ahead, Nick.
My grandpa is still working. He works at a bank office, but they only have 3 people in the office, and they're all in different rooms.
It's not so
And
bad.
the other 2 are working from home.
Yeah, no, my parents have pretty much gone to the grocery store every single day just to get a few things every time. It's ridiculous.
Smart.
Yeah. Well, every time they come back and they're like, man, there are so many people there. I'm like, you think?
Man. Wild there.
Whoa!
Yeah, dude,
You seen this?
I've been following Joe's dad's Facebook posts.
I don't know which one you're referencing.
No, he's just been posting on Facebook, just different
Yeah.
stuff, like his chili he made and stuff.
Yeah. Classic my dad, dude.
It was chilly.
Dude, we gotta
Uh-huh.
get Greg on this cast.
If you don't want to speak, that's a great way to do it. Dude, let's be honest though, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would. It would be the Greg show.
Hey there.
Dude, your dad should just start his own podcast, get Anchor FM, record directly into the app.
Really should.
I'd listen to it.
Same.
Yeah, I know. I'd definitely
He
want
has
to.
a lot to say.
Flash forward a month, he's got one of those professional studios. He's set up behind a laptop being recorded, and he's like,
But it's all made by him.
yeah.
He's beating Joe Rogan.
He's on Rogan.
No, he's beating Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not... It's hard to do, dude. We're number 2 podcast. I think I'm picking up Chris D'Elia-isms. Where he's like, dude.
Dude.
During this week, what I know, Nick, you've been playing video games, right?
I watched a couple things. We'll talk about some things later in the episode. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Doom.
Same.
I've been watching Josh play Doom. Does that count?
Coom?
No. Yes, maybe.
Oh, no.
Coom Eternal?
Coom Eternal.
Well, so I don't really know
That's
anything
the
about this
version.
game. What's the deal?
Well, let me fill you in. Let me give you a little background on the history of Doom. Doom is about a military base on Mars where they are, military scientific research base, and the scientists are working on harvesting the energy of hell, and they have opened a portal to hell, and hell has poured out into the facility on Mars, and now there are demons that are experiments that are also fused with soldiers and other personnel that are on the base. And you gotta kill them all.
About it.
About it.
I mean,
There's
Right.
Doom. You never get Doom for the story, to be honest with you. Doom's not a very.
the new ones a little bit. Yeah, the 2016 and the Eternal versions, there's some development in the story that's decent. It's definitely not real heavily story driven. I mean,
just
obviously it's
remember-
more.
There's a main enemy in the first Doom, and you can get a little bit of his backstory. It's like he had double cancer and shit like that, and he was like, okay, well, what the fuck is this?
And the character's name? Dr. Doom.
Doctor
Oh,
Doom.
shit. One thing I did like about the first game is that at the very end of the game, there's a level where you go in. Essentially, I guess you go to hell, and you don't beat the level. You can't win the first Doom. You just die in the last level.
You're doomed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When are they gonna come out with Doom 2? Tomb.
Now, in the newer ones, in the 2016 reboot, which bleeds over story-wise into Eternal, there are several levels where you go back and forth. After a couple levels, you go to Hell, and then you come back from Hell, and Hell has poured in more so into its hell on Mars at the facility. and then the new one is Hell on Earth.
So it's basically the same thing as Doom 1 and 2. They kind of just did that. Because Doom 1 was like on the Mars facility and Doom 2 was Hell on Earth. That's literally the Doom 2. That's the title.
Yeah, but this one looks better.
Classic.
Yeah.
Graphics?
It's the graphics.
Is it the graphics?
But no, I've so far liked it. I haven't played like too much of it, but I do like the new like color aspect of it. A lot of people don't because it's like more bright, but it's like that was also Doom. Also, Doom had bright colors to it. Like the water was like red and blue. There was some part of the walls that you could definitely see the red pop out of. Like animations for like the fireballs from imps were really brightly colored. So there's only some parts.
Are you talking about?
Like,
You're talking about the 2016?
No, I'm talking about the new one, Doom Eternal. And Doom Eternal
Yeah.
because people don't like it. That was like more colorful than the original Doom, like Doom 2016. Because 2016 apparently is
Okay, yeah, no, I was gonna say I'm not as big on the graphics on Eternal. I like the 2016. I like the interface on 2016 more.
So far I've been having a pretty good time with it. I just like because I liked Doom 1 and 2, the originals, and it was kind of a similar scenario where Doom 1 had some more darkish tones, but then 2 kind of livened it up. And there was like because Doom had some horror aspects to it, especially in the originals, because parts are just like dark hallways and parts where you have invisible like pink men. Those are like the kind of horror elements to it that were kind of.
Oh, dude, the Spectres, they'll get you.
I haven't faced them yet. So I want to see how
Pain
that
in
plays
the
out.
ass.
Maybe it was in Doom 2016.
The Spectre,
Yeah.
which is the invisible pinky. Yes.
No, okay, yeah, I have them. Yeah, so that's I was to say like that's what I remember from like the original Doom all the way back, in the '90s version.
Yeah.
So, Doom is the game where you're on an island and you have a bunch of villagers and you have to like plant trees and right? And there's like a dog named KK Slider and he plays music.
I was really wondering where you're going to go with that. Like, at first I was like, I can't tell if this is your understanding of Minecraft or if you're going to go somewhere else.
This is Doom, as far as I'm aware.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page right now, and it says, you can't.
Guitar dog.
Yeah,
Island homies.
dog with a guitar. That's section 1. Dog with a guitar. Section 2 says, you can't reset the time, or that a mole guy will show up and he'll say, fuck you or whatever.
Fuck you.
Oh, you're talking about Doom Eddie?
Doometti. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's Italian. We have fun here. Anybody playing Animal Crossing? Anybody care?
I was going to play it whenever I finish school, but I think I might buy it like sooner. I need somebody to catch the fish for me.
I haven't had a Nintendo console since like 64.
Since 1964. Wow.
No, that's
Yep.
nuts.
When Bill
Yeah.
Nintendo himself.
Started it in his garage.
Billiard Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. School is pretty much finished, though, so
That's true.
pack it in.
Let's not forget about my speech class where I have a group project.
Wait,
Forget about that.
it's a group project in a speech class?
Yep.
Do you all talk at the same time, like on this podcast?
No, like okay, so this is gonna get really out of hand. Our original idea was that we'd be given a prompt and we would take affirmative or negation on the prompt, and then like each of our group members would take a particular side. But our subject didn't make any sense for there to be any affirmation or negation. It was I'm not even kidding you. It was this prompt. Understand how the primary elections elect candidates for each party. What the hell are we supposed to affirm or negate? So finally, we got the idea that okay, so I guess
Just understand.
yeah, but what are we supposed to talk about?
Well, see, that's what you're supposed to understand.
Yeah, see, this is exactly. Also, whenever I brought this up, that none of our group mates knew what to do, my professor went on a tangent about how liberals actually just want to. I mean, not sorry, libertarians actually just want to own slaves again. That was something that he legitimately said to the class.
What?
And then, yeah, and so finally, we got it down to we're gonna figure out what we were supposed to do was figure out how both parties elect their candidates based on like delegates and super delegates and stuff like that, and then like talk about the problems within those and then solutions to solve them. And so number one, that's really difficult anyway because those problems change like dramatically based on the election year,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no one general solution, especially for both parties. And then so finally we finally grasped what we were supposed to do. And then the day before St. Pat's break, he was like, "Oh, by the way that you're going to be doing this speech isn't like a debate or anything. It's going to be a skit."
Yeah.
Oh,
How the fuck are we supposed to do anything with that? The only idea I had was whenever in 1968, whenever I don't remember who the Democrat superdelegates voted for, but they voted for somebody who was pro-war, and so the Democrats naturally exploded, and then like reformed, like everything. So I guess our skit for the Democratic side is going to be a man really upset that his candidate is supporting war. Really interesting stuff. Just riveting.
I'm upset.
I am rather displeased.
I'm
say
fucking
it louder.
pissed.
I take issue with this.
I've been telling Dan to cast me as Joe Biden in the next movie for a while now.
Okay, well, I mean, if you guys want to write the screenplay and then do it all, I'll submit it.
Okay, but it includes a scene with young Joe Biden, right?
And he's saying the most just absolutely normal things.
Yeah.
Nothing weird.
He's like, hey, somebody asked him, they're like, Joe, who did you vote for? And he's like, not the candidate who's pro-war. I'm upset about this. And the guy's like, what? The other guy's like, shit, well, don't worry about it. It's fine. And then Joe's like, look, fat. I am upset. And I'm going to start a podcast about this. Also, this skit includes Joe Biden starting the first podcast. It's called The Joe Biden Experience, and I'm going to be distributing it through Anchor FM, sponsored Triplefour podcast.
All right, do it.
Type that
I'll
up.
submit it. We really can't meet. Like we were supposed to submit the whole project by the 20th, and our group hasn't even like messaged each other.
Wait, how are you supposed to do a skit if we're all social distancing?
Well, that's exactly the point. We didn't even respond to the email.
No,
Like
you have
none of our group we just said fuck it, we'll take the L because number one, our prompt is insane. The other people's prompts were shit like abortion. Wow, real hard.
That's the prompt.
I'm
Yeah, I
upset
do feel bad for another group whose prompt was I don't even. This is ridiculous. Their prompt was, "What if Trump doesn't decide, or what if Trump decides not to leave office?"
What?
Like literally, he refuses to leave the White House. He just
I'm not leaving.
stays in there. He's just in there.
Lock the door. And
The
says,
skit part is almost better than the actual like speech. Like that is a skit for sure,
Yeah,
but it's 100% not a speech.
I think. Are you expected to just like have a Zoom meeting with your team members and perform via the internet in separate rooms?
I would imagine they just want us to kind of figure it out. Like maybe we all film our individual parts. But by the end of the last class, we were just thinking about not even doing the project anyway because it's like what actually can we do as a skit? You know, like, and then like the worst part is whenever we were having the class, he was like, "Yeah, that's because he has tenure and he has been at Missouri S&T for a really long time." And the dude had pneumonia and he was coughing just everywhere.
Oh, so he's gonna die before the.
He's probably already out.
Yeah.
But he.
Hell yeah.
God, what did he? Oh yeah, he was like, yeah. A lot of my other students made really good projects. Like, you know, one of their topics was Afghanistan, and then like, you know, they made this like really cool scene, and it's like, yeah, of course they did, because they got a subject that is super easy for them to come up with a skit for.
I would love to see the Donald Trump refuses to leave the Oval Office skit.
I'm not fucking moving.
I'm not fucking moving.
Wrong.
Sir, you have to leave.
No.
I believe your time is up.
Wrong.
There's a new president outside. He's waiting to get in. This is his house now. He's got to live here. Wrong.
I'm doing a fantastic job.
Quite frankly,
It's a beautiful
There it
job.
is, wrong.
This job, it's beautiful. It's the greatest job. It's fantastic. It's tremendous.
The house has never been stronger.
Yeah. The dude is.
watch him get reelected, but then he leaves office.
God, that would be such a dunk. You
What if
would-
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, I want it, but I don't even fucking care.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Later.
Damn.
If he did that, I honestly would move. You can't dunk on the American political system and then just expect me to live here.
Oh man, and he's on TV every day during this Corona situation, and oh man,
Dude, they didn't let him talk today. They legit just did not let him talk today.
I saw him on TV talking like an hour and a half ago.
What?
Oh, you got
Wrong.
your TV. Oh, you must be watching the fake news, dude.
What's up with this, like, coronavirus?
That is a good question. Harvey Weinstein has it.
Yeah, okay. How did he manage to get that?
Yeah, I don't know. Out of everybody, the fact that he just randomly got it, just out of nowhere.
Well, he must like I don't know where he is right now. Is he like in a holding?
He's probably in between
cell?
jails right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, he's never even existed.
It's all a bit.
He's a fucking
Whoa.
fabrication by the media.
The media.
the media.
Also, Rand Paul has it, which is hilarious.
Just saying, like, somebody and then has it.
It's pretty good.
So good.
No,
have
no,
you seen
seriously,
those-
Rand Paul does have the coronavirus. He's the only
Yeah, I
person.
saw that. Yeah, and they said that he's not quarantined. They're praying for him. Have you seen the videos of the Italian? Dude, you gotta watch these if you haven't. The Italian mayors, like, literally just sweeping the streets alone, like, yelling at people that aren't in quarantine.
Hell yeah.
It sounds like it's completely made up. Yeah, he's the police. It's one man in a suit.
It's like, hey,
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly what goes on.
Fuck maggot.
He's like, "What are
I
you
just
doing?"
pictured.
Dude, it's nuts. I can't believe that they're out there just yelling at people in suits.
Is there a pic of him doing that?
I don't think there's a pic.
Also, there's the video of the people out on their balconies singing the Evangelion theme song.
Yeah.
They also were watching our podcast
They were.
Yeah.
in Brazil.
Yeah.
Everybody make sure you were liked, subscribed to the Triplefour Facebook, Triplefour YouTube channel, all that stuff.
Damn.
Krista Leah tweeted, "Isn't it crazy how some guy ate a bat halfway around the world? Now I can't go to the gym."
God damn. That's too good.
Who's out here eating bats, bro?
Dude, it's a lot of stuff.
Could be. You could be.
Ozzy.
Fuck.
wet-
Ozzy Osbourne did it
Well, that's
a
crazy.
long time ago.
You know what I
Maybe
heard?
he's it.
You know what I heard? Ozzy has it.
I knew it.
Oh, no.
Shit. Oh,
I
man.
know, Bob.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
He's been eating bats, bro. Surely there's a Hard Times article equivalent of that joke, right? Like, somebody wrote that.
It's gotta be. Public speak out a compilation of Italian mayors and governors.
A compilation.
I love how it says with
Yeah, a
accurate
lot of
subtitles.
people.
With accurate subtitle.
Wrong. Wrong.
All right, I'm
The first comment.
Carabinieri, ma li mandiamo
No, I
per
see the
viaggio a
thing, it
fianco.
just won't let me open the...
Che domani vi becco, domani! Non pensiate tra anni, domani! Sono il sindaco, sul mio territorio non si passeggia. Non vi posso impedire formalmente di uscire da casa? Bene, vi impedisco di passare sul suolo pubblico.
Allora mi rivolgo a voi, ma dove cazzo andate? Dove andate con questi cani che hanno la prostata infiammata?
What the hell? This man.
Alla PlayStation, siccome io sono il sindaco di questa città, in questa
Oh, he's
città
getting
il
too close.
sindaco lo faccio rispettare io. Quindi, se ne devi andare a casa adesso, non voglio le scuse. Tutti, dovete stare tutti a casa, devi andare. Non si può stare in mezzo alla strada, come ve lo devo spiegare?
This is
Non si
amazing.
può stare.
I
Mayors
know.
are mad.
Why is every mayor out here?
The idea that it's the mayor's responsibility to
I
walk
know.
around and tell people to go home.
He looks like the mayor too.
Ste cazzo di parrucchiere che vanno in casa a aggiustare i capelli e febbre, a che cazzo servono? Cioè, ma l'avete capito che utavutu chiudono? L'avete capito?
Oh my God.
State a vedere questi
off
capelli
right now.
aggiustati in utavutu?
Ho incontrato un nostro concittadino
chilling.
che
This dude has
amabilmente
a
faceva
full-ass dude
la
doing sign
corsetta
language.
su e giù per la strada, accompagnato da un cane visibilmente stremato. L'ho fermato e gli ho detto: guarda che questo non è un film, tu non sei Will Smith in Io sono leggenda, quindi passa a casa.
Shit.
Dude, the Italian mayors are out here, bro.
You can't play ping pong.
Go home.
Fuck.
Where the fuck are you going?
That's pretty good. Look, I've said it once before, and I'm going to say it again. Things are crazy right now, you know? You got people playing ping pong in the fucking street.
You got grown men yelling at other grown men.
You got grown men pissing in the street. Speaking of Italians, it's time for films.
Oh no.
Parasite, Midsommar, Jean-Luc Godard, Robert Eggers sucks. This is the time for films theme song. It's over.
Spent a lot of time watching films this week. Spent a lot of time for films. Since the last podcast recording, I watched 16 movies.
Jesus.
And look,
Are you going to talk about all 16 of them?
no, I'm not. But speaking of Italians, I did watch Titanic. I'd never seen Titanic before. I think at one point in my life I was almost determined to never see it just because it would be funny, because it's one of the most popular movies ever made, and was the highest grossing for a good 10 years or so. And I thought it'd be funny if every time somebody like, oh, you know that part in Titanic? And I'd be like, no, I don't.
You know that Half-Baked opened against Titanic?
Did it win?
Did it win?
Did it work?
It did not.
I heard the Titanic has it.
Oh.
Fuck.
Anyway, so, all right, who's seen Titanic?
Yes, I have.
All right.
Nope.
Let me tell you about the thing that absolutely killed me. Speaking of Italians, if you remember at the beginning, Leo's best friend is this guy named Fabrizio. Fabrizio. And he gets on the boat with Leo. And they walk on there and, they get their room and everything. And then, they're best friends. They're like, we're going to have so much fun on this fucking ship. It's going to be so good. And then Leo sees Kate Winslet and he's like, oh, shit. Fabrizio disappears at that point. He's like the best friend
Just
character.
like real life. The second you see a straight banger, bro, your best friend disappears.
Sideline, bro. Later, Fabrizio, he's straight up not in another scene.
It's because the movie's actually from Leo's perspective. He's there the whole time talking to him,
but he can't
completely ignore it.
Yeah, he just can't see him. He's got his eyes on that diamond, bro. So Fabrizio is not in another scene until the moment the ship hits the iceberg. Hard cut, Fabrizio just waking up in his room, like, what? It's like he was asleep the whole voyage. Weeks went by where Leo was like courting Kate Winslet, and they just forgot about Fabrizio.
Audibly hear James Cameron in one scene go, I don't really care about Fabrizio.
I really don't mind for Fabrizio.
All right, so in this next scene, I need you to just not show up for filming. Because you're going to be asleep in your room until the ship is hit by an iceberg.
That was on the second day of shooting.
You know what would be amazing is to watch that movie with somebody who did not know that the Titanic was hit by an iceberg and sank.
Whoa, what?
Because it is a hard tonal transition. Granted, the movie opens with them like at the bottom of the ocean and just looking through the thing. But I'm saying cut that out.
Oh yeah.
Cut it out. Start the
They put
movie.
the director's cut.
Dude, I'm gonna recut Titanic. I want to make it so much better. They don't show all the Bill Paxton stuff and the ship at the bottom of the ocean. It's just Fabrizio and Leo getting on a boat. Leo.
Fabrizio wakes up and then they all die.
Yeah.
But Fabrizio makes it out fine and goes on to be the heir of the Febreze fortune.
Yes. This we know. It says in the text
Have
at the end.
you ever seen the diagram of the door and how the two of them could have fit on the door like 20 different ways?
That is wild. Like, I always heard that joke, and then I saw the scene, I was like, what? Just make the prop different. Just make it a smaller door so everybody believes this.
No.
And then she throws that diamond into the ocean. It was like, what was the point? Her heart was supposed to go
She also
on.
threw a bod down the ocean too, in Leo. So
She
Later.
Yeah.
She was smoking a cig after he died.
This all comes full circle. I saw one of the videos of the Italians on their balconies, and the guy was playing "My Heart Will Go On" the piano, and then a guy with a saxophone joined it.
This is for you, Fabrizio.
Yeah, because in their country, Fabrizio is like a patron saint. He's such a well-known Italian icon. That song is in the movie so many fucking times. Not the like.
So apparently Fabrizio means.
What about Fabrizio?
It means Smith. So he's just regular
like
Italian
Johnson.
dude. Yeah.
Fucking Freddie Fabrizio over here.
Hey, Frankie, you got a regular.
All right, Frankie, we got Fabrizio's pizza.
Pretty
All
cold.
right, Franklin.
So,
Dude, yeah, I will never get over that one episode we watched, and the dude just is like fucking in awe in the background, and just goes, "Wait a minute, is that Frankie?"
Yeah.
Like it's just like it takes me right out of the fucking video. Wait, hold on, is that Frankie?
Is that Frankie? Never seen you.
I really haven't seen him before.
Dave Barstool Sports. He's still doing the pizza reviews. He's doing frozen pizza reviews. To say some
Any episode where he's wearing a suit, he's like his confidence level is already high.
Yeah.
But the suit adds at least like another 10 level.
One last note about Titanic. The draw me like one of your French girls scene. It's the best part.
Wrong.
Shit.
I got a real good one that I put in last night. Popped up at random. Velocipaster.
Oh yeah, it's on my list.
You have not watched it yet.
Mm-mm.
Dude, straight up banger. It rules so hard. And I know that you're gonna like it. I know I said that about Greener Grass and you didn't like Greener Grass, but this is a different tone to it. This might as well have been you might as well have made this movie. It's got a lot of the same bits as Darkness on the Edge of Town. Actually, there's some very similar. There's a part where he's reading a book. So when he finds out that he could turn into a velociraptor and he starts fighting crime, there's a part where he's sitting in the church and he's reading a book, and it's just called Crime 2. It was actually, I mean, it's obviously a joke movie and it is a comedy, but the writing was it was a lot like your writing.
The thing that interested me about that movie, because I don't know if you remember, but I sent you that article about it like a year ago probably, and how the guy was saying that he had come up with the premise based on a iPhone autocorrect. Like he was trying to type in Velociraptor and it autocorrected to Velocipaster for some reason. And then he was like, "Oh, there's my movie." And at first, how he wanted to make it like a serious commentary on religion or whatever. And then at some point realized, like, nah, I should just make a silly movie about a dinosaur guy.
It's fucking hilarious. After the first scene, basically something happens to him, and the older pastor tells him that he should travel and see how other people live in the world. And then he decides he's going to go to China, and then it's a hard cut of him walking around in the woods. They're definitely not, like, it's very clear that this is just, like, they're in fucking Ohio or some shit. And it just says, he just walks up and looks at the woods and goes, China.
I do want to watch it. That sounds like something me and Josh should watch.
Oh, yeah. It's a good group watch for sure. I did start Twin Peaks last night as well.
Did you watch the first episode?
Yes, I did. The pilot.
Watched the anchovies, but
it's a feature-length pilot.
Yeah,
classic.
Hour 36 minutes.
Twin Peaks first season, all good. Season 2, like the first 5 or 6 episodes, good. The rest of season 2, awful. Because that's when David Lynch stopped being involved.
Oh no, you can't do that.
Except for he did direct the last episode too, which that one goes off.
Okay.
But
I was gonna try originally because you told me to watch Blue Velvet. I was trying to watch Dune last night, but like I said, nothing was loading up, so I switched.
Dune is lit. Yeah, I had like a major, big surge to be like watching. I was like, I have a lot of time to watch movies right now. Maybe I should dedicate it to like meaningful like things I'm supposed to have seen. And so I decided to finish off the AFI Top 100, which I had seen, I guess, 65 of already. And I was like, that's a doable thing within the next few months. So I went for one of the other glaring omissions in my viewing history, which was Schindler's List. And oh boy.
Schindler's List 2. Schindler's pissed.
Schindler's back. And he's got a Subway sandwich. Hilarious movie. So funny. You gotta see this thing.
Did you guys see it?
Oh man.
It's not supposed to be funny, right?
No, I'm joking. It's incredibly grim. It's probably not.
Subway sandwich is really just
the Subway sandwich scene, though. When it is crazy. I will say, the only thing I knew about it was the concept of this guy Oscar Schindler, gave all these Jewish people jobs during the Holocaust. That's pretty much all I knew. And I thought it was a movie about how he is like this like savior. And I guess ultimately it is, but he's kind of a dick at the beginning.
Yeah, because he says that you can make your own sandwich, but at the end, whenever you do, you have to categorize it as one of two options.
Yeah, Schindler's List of ingredients.
Yeah.
Only I don't know if I say like I really liked the movie or anything. It was pretty good. There are some incredible images in it, but it is a fucking Holocaust movie, so it's not exactly the most, awesome roller coaster or anything.
Sounds fun.
I kept thinking about how like there are some execution scenes in that movie that are.
I gotta say, the worst part in the movie for me is whenever Amon was doing the old stretcheroo and the dude was just taking a straight rest on the steps. Oh my god, I just got done taking that bag of bricks. Jeez. Really deserve this break. Dude gets laid out.
There are some brutal ones like that. There is the one scene where they take the guy out they take him out back and he's gonna shoot him because he didn't make the door hinge fast enough or whatever, and then his gun doesn't work, and it's like a comedy bit. That one is a genuine comedy bit where it's like he's about to fucking murder this guy point blank, and his gun doesn't work, and they're like trying to like, oh no, you have to pull the trigger. Hold on, it's not working. And then they're borrowing each other's guns. Multiple guns are pulled out. It's like, this is a fucking joke scene.
That's like the masks in Django.
But yeah, there were some brutal ones, and I kept thinking about how like these actors, the extras who are playing the SS or whatever, these people executing these people like in cold blood. I bet that's a big part of their acting reel. Is this scene where they play this ruthless Nazi who just murders somebody in the street, and they had to get other jobs based on that. Seems like a turn off.
Check it out.
So here's my reel. Get the fuck on the ground. Ooh, he's trying to get the role of like the baker in this new Adam Sandler movie or some shit. Anyway, that's where my mind went during Schindler's List.
One other that I did watch this week. I've been, like I said, playing a lot of Doom, so I'm lacking on the film front. But I did watch Never Surrender, a Galaxy Quest documentary. Pretty good. Really good. Probably the most feel-good documentary I've ever seen. We've all seen Galaxy Quest, yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
Is that the movie that's already parodying the culture of like Star Trek?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a documentary about a parody of a series.
Which is part of what makes it so good. And that's one of the major points of the documentary is to talk about the fandom. And one of the groups of people that they follow in the documentary are these people that go around to conventions and cosplay Galaxy Quest, which is like a whole that in itself. There's so many levels of irony because that's kind of the point of the movie is to highlight the fandom. So, well, first of all, I would like to propose a new inductee to the Triplefour Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And that is Alan Rickman.
Wrong.
Whoa!
Wow!
Okay, well, moving on.
Snape was kind of a simp.
Whoa!
Yeah, alright, yeah.
Because that's the only role he ever played.
In retrospect, Snape was a really big simp.
He was kind of a massive simp.
Jesus.
Anyway.
I sent Joe this picture from a meme page that I saw the other day.
It is pretty fucking good.
And it was just a picture of Peter Parker, like Tobey Maguire, as Peter Parker. And the post just said, dude was kind of a massive simp.
Dude was kind of a massive simp.
Kind of a massive one. just that verbiage. That phrasing.
I did not know. Originally, when they started the project, before they even got the casting or any of that, Harold Ramis was supposed to direct that movie, and then they got to a point where he thought that it wasn't going to be his last movie was kind of a flop, and he didn't want this to turn out the same way. He didn't think it was going to be what he wanted it to be, that it would be conveyed the way he wanted it to. So Harold Ramis ducked out. He left, and then they got a new director, and that guy really is a big reason why the movie is so good, because he I mean, after they got to all the casting, pretty much anybody that had any kind of idea, he was one of those directors that would give anybody a shot. If they had an idea, he said, okay, let's try it. Let's do that. They did have, when they got to the casting, there was a lot of debate over Tim Allen's character, the commander, because he's like, well, kind of the main character. I just thought it was really interesting. They had so many alternates that they had discussed. They spent a lot of time trying to decide who they were going to have be the commander, and they, I guess, eventually landed on Tim Allen, because they wanted an action star that could be funny. They didn't want a comedian that could be an action star. But Tim was real adamant about it. Alternates that they had for casting for the commander, Alec Baldwin, Steve Martin, Bill Murray, which I think could have worked, and Tim Robbins.
Those are not action stars.
No, not at all. But then they got into the whole debate of people with the comedy chops. And if you look at it, like, a lot of those actors are serious. You have Sam Rockwell, you got Tony Shalhoub, you got Sigourney Weaver. She's not a comedian. Now, she has comedy chops, and that was one of the things she was real adamant about. They were going to cast somebody else for that, and she came in. Basically, they didn't want her. They wanted this to be funny. They wanted it to be a funny movie. They also said they wanted it to be, first and foremost, they wanted to make a good Star Trek movie. It wasn't supposed to just be a
parody.
They wanted a parody. They wanted to really make it good, and then that came in later with some of the writers. But that was one of Sigourney's things that she was real adamant about, was that she wanted to show off her comedy chops. They didn't want her to do it because she had already been in Alien, and they thought it was going to be, she was too serious. Yeah. There was, the scene, basically the scene where Tim has to explain to the aliens that think that this is real life, he has to explain that it's all fake, that it was a TV show, and that they're not who they say they are. They're not actual space heroes. So basically in that, Dean, I can't remember his last name. The director basically told Tim Allen in that scene, he said, this cannot be funny. There is no comedy in this scene. This is deadly serious. That people need to feel the pain. This is a painful moment. And they went in, and when he was doing that scene, he gave a really, really dramatic, sad performance. And he got to the point, he turned to Dean and he said, I don't really like the feelings that I'm having right now. I would like to go to my trailer. And he leaves, and Alan Rickman turns to Dean and says, I think he just experienced acting.
Tim Allen's good for it because he comes across as a dick, like, in real life, so it kind of makes sense because his character is a dick. West Side Story, I watched that today. Hated it.
Okay, is that both a movie and a play?
Yeah. It was a Broadway play first, then they made the movie, and...
Wrong.
Shit. Spielberg is remaking it to come out. It was supposed to come out this Christmas. Which, why? Look, I don't like musicals to begin with because they're silly, and like I cannot wrap my head around like a character being like, something makes them sad, and then they turn to the camera and then they start singing about how they're sad. Like, I just cannot deal with that mentally. Just, there's There's a part in West Side Story, which is based on Romeo and Juliet, where after the two love interests meet, and the girl's name is Maria, the guy starts walking away, having just kissed her the first night at the party or whatever, and he's walking away, and he just starts going, Maria, I just met a girl named Maria, and I'm like, fucking kill me. What's
Clearly never been to Italy during
Oh my god. And like, you know, the old joke is, you know, like that SNL skit where Norm is in the like West Side Story gang, and they keep breaking into dance, and he's like, what the hell's going on? We're a gang. That is so at the forefront of my mind the whole time I'm watching the movie. There is a part where, like, every time that they're about to get into a gang fight, you know, like they're about to like stab each other with knives, they just dance around each other. There's one that happens early on in the movie where the guy like kicks the other guy, and he starts turns his back, starts walking away, and then the guy spits on him, and the other guy lunges, like does a fucking plie over like 10 feet, jumping back to get back to the dude, and the guy's on the ground, and it's like a fucking it's like a fucking acrobatic fight, and I'm like, nothing happening is real. So yeah,
you
not
ever
a
seen
fan.
Rise of Skywalker?
That's the one with Ben.
That's Ben.
That's the Ben movie.
I'm just gonna say that with any movie. So I got Ben in it.
Is that the one that got Ben in it?
Watched Cats. That was pretty good. You guys seen that?
Did you?
No, I didn't fucking watch it.
Damn.
I got
I
Ben.
gotta watch Cats. It's got Ben in it.
Yeah, we got
Ben in it, though.
Fuck. Dude. All right, I don't know if
You were stoked for me to watch Cats.
I was, because it's supposed to be fucking nuts. They're already reviving Cats in theaters because it's so fucking ridiculous and bad. I don't know if you read the article about how there were people hired, animators were hired to remove buttholes from the movie Cats.
Yeah, I did hear about that. That's fucking hilarious.
So they existed at some point. Like there were cat buttholes just littered through the film.
It wasn't even on the animation.
Tossed
It was
around.
just- there was some trash.
JPEGs. They just intercut JPEGs of pictures of cats' butts.
So I don't get. Okay, so was it that they literally just put a balloon knot on everybody's butt?
Yeah,
like
I think.
in
I think so. Which is
Damn.
nuts.
Why?
Art.
Imagine getting into art. Imagine getting into an interview and they ask you the questions like, so you're familiar with Photoshop, huh? And you're like, yeah. So we got a fucking job for you. So you ever seen a cat's butthole? It's pretty weird, right? Anyway, here's the cats in the movie. Put this on every single fucking person.
There's your skit for public speaking, dude. It's the moment.
my group right now.
It's the moment in the animator office when the guy came up and he was like, so all right, the boss comes over to the animator and he's hovering over him at his desk, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, what? I'm animating cats. These are cats. Yeah, well, they don't look very anatomically correct to me. What do you mean? Do you see that? That's the butt. There's no butthole. Yeah, that would be weird. I don't know. You should put one on. Just try it on. See how it fits. And then, obviously, they animated buttholes and everything.
Put them in their rightful
Show us your
place.
butthole.
Really, the only movies I've enjoyed watching were a couple of Billy Wilder movies, The Apartment, and Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe. I had never actually watched a movie with Marilyn Monroe in it, and let me tell you,
I'd be interested to do that.
she's a looker.
I mean, yeah. I never.
Oh!
Some Like It Hot is amazing. It is so funny, and the script is perfect. And The Apartment is really good too. So yeah, highly recommend. Loved them. New faves.
Oh, I watched Jane's Air.
Yeah.
Yeah. I legit watched the whole thing, and I cannot tell you a single thing that happened in it.
So you're in a literature class, right?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Jane Eyre.
I've heard of the novel before.
Right.
It is very much classic girl in the 1800s that is experiencing freedom. And I mean, I get it. It's cool. I understand it. I just can't relate to it really on any level. And the things that the character finds out about themselves, I legitimately I don't care. I was explaining why I don't care about it the same way as I would imagine it's not super fun for a girl to sit down and watch a World War I action film.
Right.
It's just there's nothing really that you're gonna immediately relate to. There's no gripping things for you. So it's that and Anne of Green Gables. I'm pretty sure that actually just doesn't have a plot. But I don't know what it is, man. 1800s and honestly just the 1800s. What's going on?
Yeah, the period pieces are up there with musicals for me. Can't stand it.
Period pieces I like. I like the history of it. I just okay, why don't you watch Jane Eyre and tell me what I'm pretty sure there is an actual this is what it's about. But what you think about the character.
Yeah, period pieces in general. I don't care because a lot of them are about society types. They're about rich people who live in really fancy ornate houses and stuff. And I just don't. And so the drama is always a domestic thing, which it sounds like that's what Jane Eyre is about. And
kinda, yeah.
And it just feels dainty and
oh, it definitely is
fancy. I just don't like that. I don't get it. I don't connect with it.
Majesty requests your presence in the foyer.
Master Lemunyon requests your presence in the foyer.
Master Lemunyon?
Oh, you think that's a funny name, huh? Well, I got a fucking surprise for you. My freshman college roommate's name was Dayton Lemunyon.
Dan literally won't stop making fart noises on the mic.
Okay, so funny story.
I couldn't stop making farts.
So this is back in the day where we were playing GTA 5 all the time. And I was playing GTA 5 online with these jokesters, and the dude was the dorm room is tiny. You're in the Corona zone. You're within 6 feet of your roommate at all times. This dude was trying to go to sleep or whatever, and I was trying to be quiet, but when we're on Xbox, we're getting a little crazy.
You got grown men
yelling over each other in the mic.
Crashing, we would play GTA, get into the plane, and crash it into each other, in the middle of the busy downtown street, and be yelling as we're doing it, whoa, bitch! Just, fucking screaming at 3 a.m. And then one day, I saw that he tweeted something, about me and how he couldn't go to sleep. And it was my roommate is screaming at the Xbox at 2 a.m. trying to sleep. And that was Master Lemunyon.
Anyway, that was in Jane Eyre, and I guess that does movie time or whatever.
What, the Master Lemunyon requested somebody's presence?
Yeah, that was in there.
That
was in there, yeah.
Ah, shit. The only thing that interests me about that movie is that it was directed by Cary Fukunaga, who directed True Detective. So I feel like he's got to have some kind of interesting...
Well, he, transforms the whole, narrative into, a Vonnegut-esque storytelling. It's, all out of order and...
Really?
Kind of, in an order of, least traumatic moments up to most.
It's a fucking Watch Mojo top 10.
Yeah, kind of. Because I read the book and I honestly probably got about as much as I would out of the movie, just because I can't read stuff like that. It just goes. I'm looking at the words; they're just not doing anything in my brain.
Yeah. And this brings me to a new segment. Time for books.
Oh.
Okay.
Whoa.
All right. I've been waiting.
You gotta start coming up with better.
this.
If you're reading books, you gotta start coming up with better titles.
All right.
Bookers.
The new segment. It's actually called A Moment for Literature.
Wrong.
Fuck. Scarch, can you make a theme song for that? A Moment for Literature. Master Lemonnion requests your presence in the foyer now. Like that. I completed The Stranger by Albert Camus. Fun, hilarious ride. Just like Schindler's List. Really funny.
Just like it.
So here's what I think, right, Joe? Because you said that you thought that the dude, like you hated the dude, the main character, Monsieur, and that you felt like Camus was like making him out to be a hero.
Yeah, he romanticizes his pain all the time.
I didn't get that. I
think that's definitely what he's trying to do, especially knowing him, like who he is.
I could have swore I read a quote that was to the contrary. When you say he romanticizes the guy's feelings, I like. Are you talking about sort of the flowery language he uses? You know, because he says a lot of stuff like the hot air was.
Well, it's
was
just
nice.
like you're hoping for worse things to happen to him, because that's how you'd see yourself in that situation. Or you're hoping for him to think more negative thoughts about other people, because that's how you'd feel in that situation. He wants you to sympathize with somebody that is honestly just, number one, a trash character in general, but like also is just like it doesn't really help anything. I mean, it drives the plot for sure, but I mean, there's really not much character development as far as the main character goes. But as far as I remember, I couldn't get with the whole like I don't know. Maybe I could be remembering it wrong.
Yeah,
and I also read this. I also read this a long time ago. Well, I guess it's like 4 years ago. But
I felt like he was not represented in any particular way. I just felt like the book was like showing you, here is this guy and how he thinks. He doesn't want to be a part of society, and he doesn't believe that life is meaningful, so he doesn't participate in anything emotionally. I think the book just is presenting this idea of a person who likes this. I mean, for better or worse, this is how...
Are you familiar with absurdism versus like existentialism?
Yeah, so it's... Absurdism is more what this guy is representing, because he doesn't believe this. He believes the search for meaning in a meaningless world is ridiculous, right?
Well, it comes to no fruition, and that is the absurd, because you know that to not be true, otherwise you wouldn't be living. There's no point to life, and you can't live knowing that.
The main character, I think that is his mindset, and so he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't, bother. Like if he doesn't care about his mom for any particular reason, so when she dies, he doesn't cry, and that's kind of the big point of the core of the story, I guess, is like everybody was like, because he didn't cry at his mother's funeral, he is a danger to society.
I didn't really get that vibe at all.
No, like, that's what the people in the trial are saying.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I thought you meant like we are supposed to view him as a dangerous person. I didn't think that.
No, not us. I mean, I guess, well, I think, like I said, it's a neutral thing. It's just presenting his argument. And so if you read the book and you think that that's true, that it's dangerous that he doesn't have feelings, or you could feel the other way. You could relate to his point of view. I guess those are the two extremes.
I think what he's trying to do in the novel is show you the he sees that there is no intrinsic meaning to anything, like to life in general. So he's kind of like putting the absurd there, through this character. He's trying to get it to where, kind of like what you're saying, where you're going back, because absurdism is honestly just the worst type of existentialism. But I don't believe that there's anybody that can truly practice absurdism, like without just honestly wanting to die all day. But
which is
like,
the myth of Sisyphus or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But the existentialist part of it is that he wants you to make that construct for the main character and like add together and be like, okay, I don't feel like this. I don't know. It's just the way that he presents this character. Maybe it's just the way that I took the way that he presented it, because that wouldn't be unlike me. Because I always feel like I'm fighting with the author 90% of the time. Like I always try to find like fault, especially with people that I know are connected to philosophy. But I mean, like, as far as I remember, that is genuinely what I remember, is that I felt like he romanticized this character's, I don't know, brief bouts of absurdism, and like tried to play it into, hey, this does you no good. Think about like that instead. But I don't know. I don't think that it made the connection for me. All around though, just in general, I think it was just a fucking straight up depressing book. Like, I don't think I felt good after reading it at all. Like, even with most depressing books, you can, like, kind of romanticize something out of it. But with that, I was just like, well, fuck. Okay.
Bummer. And I think if it comes across as some kind of romanticization of that way of thinking, I think it's only because it's in first person and we have his, like, monologue.
That could be true, yeah. That could be true, too.
I thought also something that, and I did a little reading on famous interpretations of the book and stuff afterwards. I thought one thing that was not pointed out but seemed very obvious to me was every other character in the book has some element of the way he thinks. Like, when he's being tried, everybody's, like I said, saying he's a danger to society because he didn't cry at his mother's funeral, and they don't actually care that he killed somebody. It's like,
yeah,
there's like a level of like, you don't actually care about human life, you just care about. But it was really interesting. I think it's a really interesting point to, have a conversation about philosophy from.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I will say that. Like, I remember whenever George read, I think you definitely have to know what you're going into.
Yeah.
Whenever you read it.
The Stranger, not exactly a beach read.
Yeah, a beach read.
Dude, it is a quarantine read.
It sounds like I just want to get straight up depressed after I read the book.
You should definitely read it, Josh.
Oh, all right. Is it?
All
right.
All right.
I'm sold.
I will say, reading it makes you want to like be not alive anymore, whatever that's called, and then it also definitely makes you want to feel more. Like, I remember, like, just a lot of the neurotic, like, tendencies of the main character. Like, you really try your best to be like, oh well, I wouldn't feel like that, but like, there's a part of you where you're like, oh, okay.
Well, there are parts that I did relate to. Like, I thought, like, it was interesting to me how, like I said, people are, like, holding him on trial because he doesn't feel a certain way, which is, like, a phenomenon, I feel like, of experience. It's like you're expected to cry for this thing, or you're expected to be happy for this thing. Like, that's something I feel like people could relate to. But on the other hand, this guy... like, he meets that girl and immediately gets into bed with her, and then she asks him to marry her, and he's like, I mean, I guess. And I'm like, I feel like I would have some feelings about that situation. But anyway,
I want to read The Rebel.
Is that another Camus?
Yeah. It's apparently a lot less
sad.
No, it's probably same amount sad.
Dash
Well,
more
this is sad
bits.
again.
More bits.
Yeah, I
Wrong.
read The Stranger. It was okay. Could have used more bits. And final note for a moment for literature. I did start As I Lay Dying about halfway through it. Parts of it I really like I really appreciate his language and stuff. It can be kind of difficult. Like I have to read it very slowly, just because it's jumping around in characters' perspectives, and they use weird old Southern words.
I didn't look any of those up, so I gotta be honest. Whatever they're talking about, no idea.
Well, I can figure out most of it. I haven't looked any words up either, but it's just the way they put stuff, and you kind of like have to read it 3 or 4 times, where you're kind of like, oh, okay, I guess. But he gives no he gives no context though. So it's like I walked up to the house, and you're like, where's the house in relationship to the barn? And then where's the cow? And then all of a sudden the next sentence will be like, and I was on top of the cow. And you're like, what the how'd you get up there? It's just shit like that. Like there's no fucking exposition. It's just thoughts.
See, that's like I think that's actually easier for me to read, because I get lost in the sauce whenever everybody's just like describing the scenery. I totally forgot where they're at by the time they're like describing the smell of the dandelions and shit. I don't like that, especially in Hemingway.
A classic Hemingway passage is when in Farewell to Arms, when he's like, I got blown up.
Later.
And he's talking to the nurse. He's like, I'm fucked up. I need some wine. And then the nurse is like, wrong.
Wrong.
Oh shit.
As the artillery shell hit my bunker and I saw my team launch through the air and say, later.
I was
The classic Hemingway quote.
I was driving my ambulance through the battlefield, and I looked over and I saw the other sergeant. He had turned into a pickle, and he said, I'm Pickle Rick. Funniest shit I've ever seen.
That's what he said immediately. Funniest shit ever.
Hemingway,
Which is exactly how Hemingway would describe something.
Yeah.
This was funny.
And this has been a moment for literature. Master Lemonnion requests your presence in the foyer now. Titanic is PG-13, and yet they showed tits.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, they straight up showed it, dude.
They showed it.
They fucking went
They
off
showed them.
here.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Prove it.
Shit. I don't know. I can't. You know what I heard about Fabrizio, though?
Oh, no.
Seriously, though.
It's a real problem.
Seriously. Chill. Okay? Because I'm about to tell you some really bad news.
Oh my god.
Fabrizio has it.
Fuck.
My friend Enron Hubbard put out a new music video that's on the Triplefour channel, if you want to look at that. Otherwise, it has been just a wonderful podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the Spotify streaming feed, to your Apple feed, whatever you need.
Oh, dude. I totally forgot. I fought a raccoon.
Goodbye.